Political commentator and Democratic strategist Maria Cardona and CNN political commentator and Republican strategist Alice Stewart. Great to see both of you.
Great to be here.
Glad we're in the studio today.
Yes.
Let's just start first. Priscilla kind of laid out those top lines from this new poll that came out this morning, with Trump holding an advantage over President Biden, 49 to 43, just in the horse race. But 55% of Americans saying that Trump had a successful presidency. 39% saying Biden's has been a success. Alice, what do these numbers say to you?
This is not good for President Biden. And look, when you're looking at not just the overall numbers, but breaking it down, as Priscilla did, his handling of the economy. Biden is underwater with approval on that. His handling of Israel is certainly under the water. People's opinion of this president with regard to how he's handled and his opinion of the presidency with Trump at 55%, Biden at 39% in terms of their success. And when you look at Biden, look at that number. 61% of those we polled say Biden's president time in office has been a failure. That is not good. And look, this is a national poll, and these are good numbers, and it gives people an idea of where things stand. But you also look at where is the numbers, or where are the numbers with regard to battleground states. President Trump is ahead of Biden in every single battleground state when you're looking at the polling numbers, and that's where it's going to make a difference. And look, we were all at the Correspondents' Dinner last night, and I know that people like to make fun and joke about President Biden and his falling up the stairs or stumbling through a speech, but people are concerned about him falling down on the job when it comes to the economy in Israel and securing the border. That's where he's got a real problem.
And what do you think, Maria?
I think that this poll is one of many 6 months out from the election. There is a lot of time left. And in fact, if you look at this poll as compared to the others that have come out recently, other highly respected polls, those other polls have the race at a dead heat. A lot of them have Joe Biden up by 1 to 3 points. The CBS poll that came out today has Joe Biden up in Michigan and tied in the other battleground states as well. But look, there's no question that there are challenges here. And the Biden campaign knows that. So they're going to take this poll, as they always do, and say, we have work to do. They're going to roll up their sleeves. They're going to continue to do what they're doing, continue to remind people all of the great successes and accomplishments that this president has done for the American people on the economic front, on securing democracy, on securing our rights and freedoms. And I think at the end of the day, Jessica, what Americans are going to look at is the contrast, the clear choice between what President Biden has done, what he says he's going to continue to do to make the economy work for everyone, to secure our rights and freedoms, to secure reproductive rights for women, which is one of those issues, including the thoughts about securing our democracy, that doesn't always show up in these polls. We saw this happen in 2022. Everyone predicted a red wave, when at the end of the day, it was a great night for Democrats because the issues of rights and freedoms and securing our democracy were also front and center. So I think moving forward, this campaign is going to continue to tell that story and remind people where we were 4 years ago. 4 years ago, our economy was spiraling. We were losing millions of jobs. 1.5 million Americans died because Donald Trump denied the science of COVID while he was getting a shot. I think at the end of the day, Jessica, I'm going to bet on Americans' decency and the fact that they are going to choose somebody who has been a lifelong public servant as opposed to a fraudster, a sex offender, and a criminal defendant who is only in this to stay out of prison.
And I know you want to get, I just also, before you, because Alice, I want to give you a second. It's 70% though say economic conditions are poor.
Exactly. This is not a messaging issue for my dear friend Maria and the Democrats. This is a real issue. This is a perception the American people have about the economy. They go to the grocery store, they go to the gas station, they're trying to buy homes, they're trying to get loans, and they are not liking what they see. They're paying more, and no matter how you say it, and no matter what you think they feel as though their situation is a lot worse off than it was 4 years ago, and that's where they're going to see a change. And look, I clearly see the Democratic messaging point is vote for Joe Biden as a vote for decency. That is extremely insulting to half of the people in this country who are planning to support someone aside from Joe Biden. And just because Donald Trump might not talk like the rest of the people and might not act like the rest of the people, when you're voting for him, doesn't mean you're not a decent person. I think if you're going to continue that line of dialogue, I think that's a huge mistake, because we're talking about half of the people in this country are fed up. Joe Biden might be a nice guy, but this economy is not nice for people in middle America.
This is why I think that a lot more than half of the country will vote for Joe Biden, because I do think that the majority of the American people are decent, and they don't want to see somebody in office that tried to overturn a free and fair election. The split screen that has been happening up until now, Jessica, I don't think is a good thing for Biden. On one side, you have him with a criminal hush money. On the other side, you have his attorney arguing that he should have absolute immunity to do whatever he wants in office. Decent people, the majority of Americans, are going to see that and say, you know what, we deserve better. And so what the Biden campaign is going to continue to do is remind everyone, because there is a little bit of amnesia. And let's look at the numbers that actually matter more than polls, the numbers of fundraising. If people really did not support Joe Biden, he wouldn't be raising the massive amounts of money that he is, overshadowing so much on the money that Donald Trump is raising, the special elections that have been happening since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. If Americans did not trust Democrats more than Republicans, we would not be overperforming and winning in so many of these Republican-held seats. And so that is what this campaign is looking at, and they're going to continue with that messaging.
Look, it appears that saying those that support Donald Trump are not decent people. So decent is the new basket of deplorables for Democrats. I get it.
No,
That's
I'm
not a
not
really
calling
good
them
way
indecent.
to win over independents and late-decided voters in this
No
election.
one is calling anyone who's voting for Donald Trump indecent. We're calling Donald Trump indecent. Now, whether those people believe Donald Trump, the lies and the deceit that he is sharing with his voters, that's another thing. We're not calling anybody who's voting for him indecent. We're calling him indecent. And if you look at what he has done, there is no one who can take a look at that and say he is somebody who is fit for office, especially another 4 years, when he has already said he wants to be a dictator on day one. He wants to take away women's bodily autonomy. He wants to be the country's retribution. Who talks like that? And that's why I think at the end of the day, the vast majority of Americans are going to choose somebody who actually this country deserves.
Okay. Let's put a pin in that one for 1 second, because I do want to ask about the White House Correspondents. Today we have a quick clip, and I know it's a little long, but let's play it, and then we'll have quick thoughts. Oh, we don't have it, so we'll save us some time. What did you think last night, Alice? And then Maria, what did you think?
I thought it was good. Look, again, policy issues aside, I thought President Biden was funny when he said, look, you know, we're very different. My vice president supports me. I'll give him a laugh on that one. And I think he was funny. It was brief, but it was funny. I think, you know, the entertainment for the night was good. But again, when you're trying to be an equal opportunity comedian and sort of criticize and poke fun at both sides, you can't ignore the real issue out there is that you can make fun of President Biden for his age and some of his stumbling down the stairs, but the real issue, maybe not for people in that room and the press corps, but people in middle America, they're less concerned about him falling down up the stairs at Air Force One, but falling down on the job. And that's something that they need to wake up to.
And Maria, quick thought from you.
I think the dinner was fantastic. President Biden has great comedic timing, and we saw that last night. The comedian Colin Jost was very funny as well. But Alice is right. There were some serious issues that were talked about. Safety for journalists. The fact that our democracy and our decency matters. When you have an opponent for Joe Biden who talks about the press as being the enemy of the people, that is another knock on him in terms of not being the type of person who deserves another 4 years in the Oval Office.
And I think the big takeaway from the night is America needs journalists, and hats off to the press corps.
That's right.
Thanks, guys. All right. Well, it's always good to have both of you here. Thanks so much. Maria Cardona and Alice Stewart. We appreciate it. And you can check out their podcast, Hot Mics from Left to Right.
You'll get more of this.
More of this. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jessica.
Still ahead.